Good evening and welcome to episode 22 of Red All Over YouTube. We're a little bit late. We had some technical problems, so apologies for that, but I think we're rocking and rolling right now. We've got some cracking guests for you. If you've not watched this before, this is the YouTube version of this, and this is Red All Over the Land, the longest running and the only surviving Liverpool fanzine for how many years, John?
28.
And it'll be 28 years on the 18th of November. Brilliant. And there's a very special night happening at Hotel Anfield with our special guest, Kevin Keegan. You'll find out more about that. There's also a gentleman on the line at the moment who you'll be able to meet at that night as well, and that is Howard Gayle. Howard, welcome to Red All Over YouTube. How are you? Howard, we can hardly hear you. What have you done? You were sounding perfect when we did our quick sound check before we went live. What have you unplugged that you had plugged before? All right, while Howard gets himself set up, we'll meet our other guest, Roger Clegg. How's it going?
Okay, thank you.
We're going to find out more about you, and thank you very much for the T-shirts that you've got for me and John. That is to represent... John's got his on, but he's not going to stand. He's just not going to stand up. So Szoboszlai and the Hungarian flag, lovely T-shirts. Now there's another one of them. You sent me another one. This is a medium because I'm only a short ass, but you've sent a big one as well, a large one, and you can win that on the Kevin Keegan night. And John, you're going to try and get it signed by as many people as possible. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
including Howard.
How are things going, John, with the fanzine at the moment? How is the health of Liverpool's longest lasting and only surviving fanzine?
Well, it's still surviving. It's going quite well at the moment. This season's been pretty good, to be fair. We've got away with what looked like a couple of dodgy days with the weather, Storm Babbitt and other things, but we've got away with that. And the last remaining copies will sell out on Sunday.
Okay.
Of this issue.
Yeah, at the Brentford game. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I'm hoping to be at. But
yeah,
fingers crossed. We know what it's. Anyone who's trying to get a ticket lately, who isn't a season ticket holder, will know what you have to go through to get a ticket, and you just don't know. You just don't know what's going on. But thanks to everyone that's been helping me so far on that. I hope it does come through. So Roger, these T-shirts. Tell me, what's the story with these then?
Well, the one you're modelling for me at the moment, that was literally just a piece of paper on my way on the train to the Calderdale Beer and Cider Festival last month. No, sorry, late September. It just came into my head about using the flag. There's a story to tell about this as well, actually, about the T-shirt, which I think I gave a bit of a heads up to John about recently. So I did the coloration on the Hungarian flag and then just put the name, his proper name, across it. But then looking back at the name, and I'm taking a bit of a liberty here, which if Howard wants to criticise me for, I'll take it on the chin. Oh, well, you could make that sort of Szoboszlai if you were in Liverpool. But when my daughter then did a little bit of a design for it, which helps him with the printing for the T-shirts, said, well, it's really straightforward to do that one. The way the lettering went was 2, 4 in the middle and 2 again. So it worked really well. And it got good feedback just from what I showed on the mock-up for a couple of people I knew through the footy who just said, right, we want one, we'll buy one off you. Unfortunately, the other week at the Forest game, and obviously ground regs, they go on about flags and it's got to be certain dimensions, what have you, but that's a flag on a T-shirt. And then because, sadly, about the conflict in the Middle East, and I understand there was this, across football, we don't want either Palestinian or Israeli flags on view in the crowd. It could cause the wrong kind of response. I get that. And one of the lads who'd already bought a tee is approaching the turnstile, ready to go in, and he's got his fleece unzipped and showing most of the team, the Szoboszlai team. So a lady steward says, "You're going to have to cover that up." And he said, "Why?" He'd already had positive feedback in the pub he goes to beforehand. People said it's good that. No, you can't have that on display. It's a flag. He said, "It's a Hungarian flag, and it's for a player who's going to be playing today who's Hungarian. What's the problem?" But it was one of these. I don't mean it the wrong. You don't know exactly how it was sold to the stewards. No.
Do you know what, though, Roger? Until you sent this, there's no way I would have known that was the Hungarian flag. So yeah. I wouldn't have known the Hungarian. So whoever did it did well to recognise the Hungarian flag.
No. The steward didn't recognise it. It was like, "You've got to cover the flag up." But my friend of long standing said, "It's the Hungarian flag. We've got a Hungarian player. It's for him."
Yeah.
It's nothing to do with Gaza or anything else, But it was still, well, you've got to cover it up or you're not going in.
Right. I don't. What do you think on this, John? Because this has been an issue with flags of Palestinian flags in particular.
I just think it's where, and I'm going to say this is the directive from higher up authorities than Liverpool. It's just that the conflict has just made people do things differently. To me, it doesn't matter whether you come into Liverpool with a Hungarian flag, the Japanese flag, but you on a T-shirt. They're not, people aren't wearing them as they're not coming out there to wave them and all the rest of it. But football, to me, is about a game. When you go to a game on a Saturday, Sunday, or whatever night of the week it is, you're watching a game, and all this politics that's going on at the moment shouldn't really be applying to the game. And in fairness, in Liverpool, there are people who would support either the Israelis or the Palestinians. That's fine. We've got supporters on both sides. But if the conflict did kick off in the ground, well, that'd be different. But it won't. But go back to the 70s when we had the conflict in Ireland and the Troubles. People were going to the matches and shouting Celtic, Rangers, and they were wearing green. Nobody stopped it. It's just, I think, just football has got to such a state now where. Basically, very soon they were telling you what you can sing and what you can't sing, and that's how it's getting.
I tried to send an email, I think it was initially, to the SLO contact with the club. I think it's an Asian name, chap, forget now. But it bounced back. But then it was also along the lines of that contact is only for issues at away games. And there's been some bother or something, you need to submit it through via another format that is there if you go on the club website. And when I tried doing that only the other night, and I wasn't able to do it. When you clicked on where it said click on here, nothing happened. But I then found somewhere else what seemed to be an address to use, but then I couldn't get it to send. And then I've had something come back on email or when I put my emails up that it's not that it didn't get through, which seems to refer to the original one where it bounced back almost straight away saying that's not gone through. So it's not the easiest thing to navigate.
We'll just have to wait and see. I can understand why they wouldn't want people making overtly political statements, but that's clearly not what this is. It's the Hungarian flag for Szoboszlai,
The same game, a fan taking in a banner for Endo.
With a Japanese flag on it. Yeah.
And it was confiscated. No, it was confiscated, but they've since returned it. It was on the This Is Anfield. I have a look every now and then on the This Is Anfield website. And it was on there. They actually confiscated his banner. And what he'd done, it was a white banner, and then it had his full name, and then the O at the end was the red circle for the Japanese
the rising sun, Well, I don't know.
It's going too far, isn't it? Again, you're going to have to check
do you think
to see
so,
if you've got
Howard?
your shoes on the right feet before you go in the ground. And it's
Howard, I'm glad we've managed to get hold of you. How are you? You all right?
Yeah, I'm as I say, I'm still here. So 65 now. I'm looking forward to what life's going to bring ahead again. As I say, the best years are behind me now, and I'm just again thankful that we've got a manager who gets us. He's with us.
Yeah.
And long may that continue.
Yeah,
and
it
it's
is great, isn't it?
that through as well.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Well, again, he's got that empathy. Again, as he do, again, not only as I say, he's with us, he talks like us, in a scout sort of way. But you're hopeful now again, as I say, that everybody stays fit, because this is a transition. This again for the team. Transition period again. You've just had two experienced players gone out the door.
Yeah.
So it's how do we replace them? Who steps up for the challenge ahead? Because you don't get no pastime in that Liverpool first team. Again, as I say, you go in and you'd expect it to be good enough.
Yeah. Well, you'll know all about that. Let's find out a bit more about you, Howard. You're from Toxteth. Who did you support as a kid? Howard?
Come on now, bloody hell. Hello.
Well, I don't know. It happens in the best of families.
Not in our family, it doesn't. I'm a red.
Right.
I'm a red.
Well, how did you get your start in football then?
No, well, when my mum born me, I was singing "You Never Walk Alone" within 2 days.
Yeah. So how did you get your start in football, Howard?
Football back in the day. Yeah, football back in the day again. It was a way of life here. Oh no! Sorry for swearing there. I'm getting messages off WhatsApp and it's interfering.
Oh, I see. Right. All right.
Because I'm doing this on my phone.
Right. Okay.
All right.
Just excuse me a sec.
Well, whoever just sent that WhatsApp message, you've just heard Howard's reply anyway.
Yeah. My apologies again to the viewer. You'll have to beep that out on it. I didn't know you were still there. But,
you're doing it live, so
Too late.
Yeah. No, but I thought once we lost the picture here that I was good. That I'd lost shoes as well.
No, we've got you.
My apologies anyway. But what was the question?
I was asking about how you got your start in football. You went from being a kid who's in Toxteth who's a fan to actually playing for Liverpool. So how did that journey begin?
Well, I was more than just a fan. I used to follow them all over the country. At that time, again, Liverpool were just about to become a juggernaut. Yeah. And with the depression that was going on in the city, the only sort of lift that the people were getting was on a weekend with the football. Because again, you'll have well heard the stories that people used to go and watch Liverpool one week, Everton the next week. Yeah. And that rivalry sort of like stopped in the mid '70s again, with the fact that again now the two competitive clubs in the country were both inside Liverpool. Yeah. So when you went through again, as I say, the depression that we had here with the boys from the Black Stuff and all of those TV series, Liverpool was sort of like placed and deemed as in a bad place. But it brought us together, and that's one thing again that I think that the government is wary of when tackling Liverpool, is that it tries to divide it. And we've always got behind, again, as I say, the right causes, because it's something again that we believe in. And also again, a lot of the subject matter that we're talking about tonight, talking about every day, when you go back to Hillsborough and the outcome of Hillsborough and how we were treated with that, you can see that people would have a sympathetic ear to our cause. Mm-hmm. But again, as I say, we're we're a club that's unique again. I've been all around the world with the club again, playing for them, and again also again as a supporter, and even again as a legend. And the club is massive. It is massive again. I thought that they were big, being a Liverpool fan, living in Liverpool. But when you go around the world again, there's millions of people in different countries again who support us.
Mm-hmm.
So we've got an illustrious history, but also again it's a history that's engaged its fans, because the fans are the most important part in our club. And I say to the lads again, when we play at home and the matches on the telly, we found a way to search energy that goes down that telly and onto that pitch. And Istanbul was the last time we did it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you're right, because in the 70s, Liverpool went from a strange situation, because in the 60s, Merseyside was a pretty well-off city because of the music, and everybody was into it, and it was the centre of the universe for a totally different reason. And I always felt that Liverpool, whether Shankly did this deliberately or not, I don't know, but Liverpool tapped into that fame that the Beatles and the rest had brought into the city, and everybody knew what Liverpool was about. It was about music, and then all of a sudden there was two great football teams, and we have to accept that Everton were pretty good, and Liverpool were on the way up. They'd come from the second division, and it's like you called it a juggernaut, and that's what Liverpool became. And I think it really took off in the 70s when after Shankly left and Paisley took it on, and that some of the teams, you know, it was seamless. It was just talent. But for someone like yourself, I've asked this to other people that we've spoken to who were young players who came on. Somebody who comes into the first team now from the academy, like Harvey Elliott, and they're sitting in a changing room, and all of a sudden the guy sitting next to them is this multi-millionaire footballer called Mo Salah. And behind him's another one, Virgil van Dijk. Or on the other side, you've got whoever it may be, Andy Robertson, Alisson Becker. And these young lads, it must be either frightening or inspiring. And I think at this very present moment, thanks to the manager that you mentioned, I think it's inspiring these younger lads to new levels. And you must have felt when you walked in there and you saw Kenny Dalglish, Graham Souness, Phil Thompson, people like that. It must have reflected. It must have made you think, "Wow, this is something else."
Yeah, it does. But again, on the other hand, you have to realise again the impact of the fans of those nights again when we were 3-1 down with 10 minutes to go. We've turned games around this way, especially again in Europe. There's kind of like an expectancy now. You know what I mean? There's no game or no quest too far for us, isn't it? Because of what we've done in the past. But the club itself, and for me, again, as I say, the first time or the first few days when I went in there, I was aware of where I was, and I wasn't going to let the occasion or where I was overcome me. Like, I knew that this was a unique opportunity again for me, for my family, for the black people of Liverpool 8, as well as the white people of Liverpool 8. And again, I will include everybody in the city, because again, as I say, when we get together as one, we're a force. The club have always tapped into that, especially again. That was Bill Shankly. Is one of his key skills was uniting the fans again with what was going on the pitch. And every club that I went to when I've left Liverpool, the first thing that they would ask me before I sat down was, "What's Liverpool's secret? What do they do that's different from everybody else?" I said, "Well, we play five-a-sides every day." So some clubs, I remember at Birmingham, we played five-a-sides for after me telling Ron Saunders again what we were doing at Liverpool, and we'd done it for 2 weeks, and I think we didn't win a game. and we went back to the old school. And I said to them that Liverpool have practiced this for years. That's been the down. You're not just going to change your philosophy or the way you play. You know what I mean? In 2 weeks. As I say, a manager again, as I say, he can't look no further than 2 weeks because the sack's round the corner for him. So he has to act or impact on what he has in that day.
And you joined Liverpool in '74. So how old were you then?
No, I joined Liverpool in '77.
You turned pro in '77, but didn't you join the youth setup in about '74? No. I was, what's the name? You need to change that on Wikipedia, Howard, because that's what it says on Wikipedia.
Yeah. Well, again, as I say, talking the truth, and I know shame. Again, as I say, I was in prison in '74, '75. I was in detention centre.
Wow. So what a turnaround then for you.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Within, I think it was 3 months of me coming out of a detention centre, I was in at Liverpool, trying to gain a contract.
And being the first black player to play for Liverpool, was the pressure put on you? Because you're now representing a huge community, particularly in the city.
No, there wasn't. Again, as I say, we were just about to go through the 1981 riots in Liverpool. So there was a lot going on here, and there was it was difficult for me because again I wanted to go and fight on the streets with my brothers and my cousins and my friends, and they told me no, that you're in a position now again, as I say, that if you get caught, that the damage that it'll do to the cause, because they'll use you as a scapegoat.
Yeah.
So I had to sort of like stand back and watch from afar, or my voice should have been heard on the football pitch.
Yeah. Well, it was. I mean, your finest hour must have been the European Cup semi-final in the 80-81 season away at Bayern Munich. John and I were talking about this game today.
Yeah, and my finest hour was signing for Liverpool.
Was it?
I mean, yeah, and the worst again, I was having to leave it. I mean, all that came in between there was gravy. And I mean, playing for the reserves, the A team, without I've made some great friends out of that club. Sammy Lee in particular, and I couldn't change it. I'd love to have played another 250 games and had more trophies again on top of the one. But again, as I say, I made a start for other black players again to enjoy that limelight in John Barnes, Michael Thomas, Mark Walters, Bill Babb, Stan Collymore.
Yeah.
So again, as I say, it's hopefully again, as I say, I've made an impact that's made life a little bit easier for them, because as I say, it was a juggernaut. It wasn't just a club that people were passing through. There was a genuine agenda. Yeah. And the people from the city again bought into that by the support, phenomenal support.
Yeah. And what was the reaction then within the people that you were knocking about with when they found out that you were playing for Liverpool? It must have just did you have a hard time convincing people that you'd got a start?
No. Again, as I say, as we're a community, and with something like that, it will go around the community quite rapidly, and it'll be in every corner. And it was actually, again, as I say, the job at Liverpool became as a consequence of me playing Sunday and Saturday league football, with my brothers and with my friends down here. I'd been playing Saturday and Sunday league football for about 7 years, and I'd been the only black in the team, so I was always playing with white kids or against white kids. So again, as I say, I had to look after myself. again, as I say, the abuse that I'd be seeing. I could hear the nigger and the coon on the line and stuff like that. Again, as I say, those that dared say it to me on the pitch. Again, as soon as the referee turned his back again, I'd hence my revenge on it. But it was for me keeping on top of what was going on. I say that in my book, is that experience prepared me for what happened to me when I went into Liverpool, because there was characters in there that were unsavoury and did their best to make sure that that I didn't progress.
Really? Wow. Even within Liverpool? Wow.
Tommy Smith.
Yeah,
Tommy Smith.
But you ended up with the European Cup winners' medal, didn't you?
Yeah, well, as I say, that game in Munich again is what everybody will remember me by, and I was just about to come on in that final in Paris when that stupid Alan Kennedy smashed that one in the top
pocket. Some people just don't know when to stop, do they?
I know. I had it all worked out how extra time was going to go.
Yeah.
I had it all worked out, and he went and done that. Never forgive him.
There is a medal. There is a medal you knocked back, though, didn't you? Turn down the MBE once again. I'm getting my research from Wikipedia, so you're going to have to clear this one up. You did knock back the MBE.
Yeah. Well, again, as I say, for those that know me, they'll know again, as I say, that what I am is I'm black, and I have a good knowledge of what colonialism has done to Africans all over the world by taking us as slaves and placing us all over the place. There was never any apology, and that was why I turned down the MBE. And the 1981 riots and how I've been brought up, and again, as I say, within this country, is that I thought that it was a gong that wasn't for me.
Right.
Well, the people took them, you know what I mean? And again, as I say, they have to answer to themselves.
Yeah, but
I agree with you. I agree with you.
Yeah.
You know, my sporting heroes in the 70s. Well, one of the sporting heroes was obviously Muhammad Ali. You know, and I followed his career from 1962 when I first heard who he was. This mouthy American who was a poet, you know. And my mother was a bit of a boxing fan. She told me, "Do I know who he is?" I said, "I've heard of him," and then I listened to all what he was saying about how he was being treated.
After he won an Olympic medal, he was still being treated badly. He couldn't go.
Yeah, well, that was it, and they never stopped, and they still haven't stopped. You know, there's things like that, and that's what people don't understand. But he was one of the people who I just absolutely and still do. I cherish the man's name.
Proper role model for us, and people forget that he went to jail.
Yeah, instead of going to Vietnam.
Because he wasn't going to Vietnam.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that was a huge statement in itself, and a commitment to what is our cause in trying to have a better outcome, a better relationship with everybody else on the planet.
And he expressed his views in his own way.
Very articulate, wasn't he? That's why he hated him, because again he done it in rhyme. He was doing it in, as I say, in poetry, and again, as I say, he was brilliant. He was so inspiring to I know black youth on the street, because here now we've got a tool of somebody who's answering back to the colonial powers.
Yeah.
But when he, the thing was, he was being treated as almost as a leper in his own country, his own town, because of his beliefs. And then in 1974, when he won the title back, he was invited. One of the first places he was invited to was the White House. And that must
Yeah.
have been sort of like, well, 6 years ago, you wanted me lining up against a wall. And all of a sudden, it was being taken to the White House, treated as, it was probably, well, he was even more famous than the president, wasn't he? That was the thing.
Yeah.
So, and these guys who wanted to knock him suddenly wanted to have him on their side for political purposes, point scoring. Look, we've got this man with us. Yeah. You know, so, and I still read his books and stories about him even now.
Yeah.
I could almost tell you.
Iconic.
Oh yeah, yeah. And there was other people around at that time who changed sport, the face of sport. Not just in America, the West Indian cricket team. People probably don't think that happened, but they changed. They changed sport because of the way they were. And there was something else about them, and they brought the public out in this country to support their team. You know, you're getting crowds at cricket who are actually cheering, and they'd gone from this round of applause. Now these guys were. Oh yeah, and you know, Calypso. I mean, I followed the career of people like Gary Sobers and Clive Lloyd and obviously Viv Richards, and you know, they were the people who I just loved them. And people said, "Why?" I said, "Because they're great." You know, it was I didn't, and that was it. And that was it. And
well, I'm just about to do a Netflix documentary with Clyde Best.
Yeah, and I actually saw him play for West Ham several times.
Brilliant, wasn't he? But I remember again standing on the Kop and him getting racially abused by the Liverpool fans in the ground.
Yeah.
Again, that for me was an inspiration how we handled it.
Yeah, yeah. But you've done stuff for Show Racism the Red Card, haven't you? Show Racism the Red Card campaign. You've been involved in that, haven't you, Howard?
Yeah, well, I'm an ambassador for both of them, for Red Card and Kick It Out.
Yeah.
So I've tried over the years again to make change again, especially with our young people, because the world again that they're inheriting is it doesn't seem to be one which is which has a mindset for them, for human beings. I think the progression now for the future is all seems to be technology, and this technology is taking over. You know what I mean? Jobs and things like this. It's great for stuff like this because we can communicate.
Yeah.
But it's all the other downsides again that come, and it's an uncertain future again for our young people.
Yeah.
And the more chance that they're going to have is if the world is in a unity and not in a place where it's we're always looking every day to see who we can throw stones at.
Yeah, yeah. So what are you up to these days? I mean, you played for Liverpool. You even played briefly in Dallas in the USA. Yeah. You played for Birmingham, Sunderland, Newcastle. What are you up to these days then? What takes up your time?
COVID killed it.
Did it?
I was a social inclusion coach in schools. I used to go in and coach football, but it had a little bit more of an add-on about, again, social responsibilities when they're away from football and within schools. And I've been doing that again since I retired in 1995. But because of COVID and my stance on it, or my belief on it, is that that job is now gone. So, as I say, I'm 65 years of age. I'm due to retire next year, but I'm just about to start my own podcast on a radio station.
Great. You're going to start a radio station?
Yeah.
What's it going to be called?
That's what's the name? I'm in the middle of the dilemma of picking the right name for it. And I've wrote down a few, but I've got to get this up and running by the end of this month. So
and what's the format going to be? Music, talk?
Well,
sport.
The podcasts, they'll be basically around football and celebrity, the people who I know in life. But the music, again, I want to see if I can have more than one channel. Right. So there'll be Afro beats on one channel, there'll be rock on another channel, and there'll be a mix on the other channel. So there'll be something for everybody.
Well, you'll have to keep us posted when that launches.
I will do, yeah. I will do, lads. Yeah.
Yeah. Roger, have you got a question for Howard? Because I know you read Howard's book.
Yeah. Well, just in case I don't make the Kevin Keegan night.
Because you're going to be there, aren't you, Howard? Yeah.
Well, I might. But
Yes.
just in case I don't, would Howard be obliging enough to autograph his book for me? Because I have read it. That's not just, as I said before, that's not just coming on tonight. I've read the book. And if I had a term for you, it would be Pathfinder. Because you, for Liverpool anyway, you, as you've alluded to already, really paved the way for all who've come after you of other ethnicities and made their lives easier. And what I like, which it's there in the book anyway, about you, you just don't take the rubbish, so to speak. I was going to swear, and
You can,
you will challenge.
Go on, he'll get me out of jail.
Challenge the wrong kind of behaviour or authority if you don't agree with it, which that's not in the way you've done it. I've never been at that level, as an icon, but that's something close to my heart as well, because if something's not right, it shouldn't be allowed to carry on. And there's different ways of doing that, but sometimes, and if you find up on the pitch and you're being side down, left, right, and centre, just ideally, you just pick yourself up, dust yourself, and off you go. But when, as in the Munich game, when they were targeting you the way they were, it's very, very difficult. That very, very difficult. And what you put up with from your, what were supposedly colleagues in the dressing room, some of them, that shouldn't have taken place. But again, back then, it was prevalent, not just at Liverpool, across the board. So, you were definitely a pathfinder. So if you don't mind me obtaining contact details for you, because my daughter's in her second year doing fine art at Liverpool Hope University. So I do get across occasionally in term time as well to meet up with her, and maybe I could just meet up with you and sign the book.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, no problem there. Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, we're looking forward to seeing you in a couple of weeks' time on the 18th, which is the Kevin Keegan night. Kevin Keegan, our special guest. Will you do a turn as well, Howard? Will you do a Q&A for us?
Yeah. Again, as I say, Kevin's my idol.
Is he?
I told the story that when I left Liverpool, I went to Newcastle on loan because he was injured. He had an eye injury that someone put a finger in and he was going to be out. So they took me for what's her name. And when he came back, for the first 10 minutes, I'm just stood in the middle of the pitch just watching. I forgot where I was and that I was supposed to be performing with him. Because, again, he was my idol. He was every child's idol in Liverpool as a Liverpool fan. Everybody wanted to be Kevin Keegan. He was dynamic. He was quick. He was strong. He was great in the air. It's like Roy the Rovers. Yeah. He played for us, and he brought into. Shanks knew this. Shanks again engineered him. Yeah. And you only hear Kevin saying a bad word again about Shanks, but again for me I grew up again fortunate to watch Roger Hunt and Ian St. John and Peter Thompson, and then as I say, the likes of these players again come along and you're training with them and you're playing with them, and that's when it's sort of like the reality takes over, where you think, my God, I'm in a place now where I've got a lot of responsibility in the life that I live in. I've always still tried to draw attention again to the failures of others. I've always tried to take my community with me wherever I've been and speak up about that community, because it is a good community and it served me well and supported me well.
Yeah. Well, it's great to have you on. We've got John. Did you want to say something?
I'm sorry. What I'd like to do once we've got this Kevin Keegan Well, it's not just Kevin Keegan. It's basically the 28th anniversary of Red All Over the Land. We've got yourself will be there. George Sefton, the voice of Anfield, will be there.
Yeah.
So we're going to try and turn it into a real good night. And the idea is working with the Spirit of Shankly and Paul Kahn in particular, who's been very, very good. We want to raise money to put something on. I think it's going to be Thursday, December the 21st, at the church on Brett Road, just down the road from the Sandon. And that money will be for the people. I'm going to say this wrongly because it's not the people that's dependent on the food banks, but people who are in a situation where they will actually appreciate going out and being given a Christmas dinner and whatever goes with it. So that's what we're doing. But once we've done that, I would love to work with yourself on some of the projects you're doing with the LFC Foundation and things like that. And who knows what we can achieve. We've got this little team, Graham and myself. We put on these shows. We did one last year for a residential home that sadly ended up closing down in January. And we raised £3,000 and they had 40 residents
and this was just to fund their Christmas party, wasn't it? So they had one hell of a Christmas party.
The money ended up they ended up using the money to have to relocate these people, which was it really annoyed me and upset me because what we wanted to do was to try and get them support and get them a minibus so they could go.
That was going to be our next move, wasn't it, John? Yeah,
that was our next move. Yeah, so and we did one in the summer where we had Phil Thompson, who was pretty brilliant to say the least. He came along and made us all laugh. And now we've got Kevin. And so, we want to move on. You know people who have played for the club. I know John Grant. John Grant's become a friend of mine, who's a friend of yours. So we can move this on. And in the new year, we can look forward to saying, well, we're going to do something.
For the people of our city.
Yeah. I'm not from Liverpool. My mother was from Bootle. But Graham's from Liverpool. So
no, again, Bootle's part of the city. It's just an outskirt.
Just because they don't have purple bins, that's all it is, isn't
it? When she was around, they didn't have bins. They had dustbins and that. But sadly, her house got bombed in the war, and that's when she had to move away. So who knows what might have been? Well, she wouldn't have met my dad, I suppose. So I've got a huge connection with the city. I know what the city's all about. I recognise the culture, and I like to be part of that culture. As I've said before, I've been coming up to Liverpool for too many years now, for over nearly 60 years in various forms. And the first thing I can say is,
have you ever tested the mileage on it?
No. I only live in
60 years. Wow!
I only live in Chester now. I used to live in near Leicester, so it's only I just got on Merseyrail now. But people have never said to me, "You're an outsider." They've always treated me as one of their own, and that's why I do the things I do.
Be back in a minute.
Yeah. Oh, hello. Howard.
Just got to turn this pan off.
Okay, turn.
The smoke alarm.
Maybe it was a smoke alarm we heard earlier. Before we went live, we were hearing, we thought it was feedback. Maybe it was a smoke alarm that Howard's using as a cooking timer. Are we keeping you from your tea, Howard?
Pardon?
Are we keeping you from
your
tea?
What it was? I went out before and I seen these chestnuts and I put them on and I forgot about them and I could hear them popping.
Roast chestnuts.
Well, yeah, do you know what? That's a great shout. That, you know what I mean? Again, you're doing for people. A lot of people now are struggling, and I mean struggling. The consequence again of that has been that the crime rate is going to go up. People are desperate. So if there's any way that we can do in delaying that process, I'm there for it. And I'll see if I can bring again some of
We'll
the
be
lads.
more than obliging. And the fanzine's been going to say 28 years. We can send you a copy or give you a copy on the night, and then you know, keep in touch, keep going. And it supports the team, it supports the community. And we always say it's for the fans and by the fans. So we don't have too many people who aren't supporters writing for it. We do get the odd one, which is fine. But it's great when you get these people who just want to talk and write about Liverpool Football Club. I think we're unique, and you know, I see a lot of people now outside the ground when I'm selling to fans. I can't tell you how many people I've met because it's too many, it's countless. But everyone has become a friend in some strange way. You don't know the name, you only see them on match day, but they come up and say hello, and you say hello back, and that's it. And that's what it's all about. It's like when you used to stand on the cop, as you did. The guy next to you might not know who he is, but for that 90 minutes, he'll be your best mate, and that's how it is. That's how it is. You know,
it's a family. We've got the biggest family on the planet.
They're the brethren. And you know, I actually say people might not believe it, but I said the best time to be a Liverpoolian and a Liverpool fan was in the 80s when Everton were fighting with Liverpool to be top, and no matter who was going to win, it was going to be a team from Liverpool. So that was how it was. You know, they were winning cups, they won the league a couple of times, and that's how it was. It was one city, and I still believe in that. Things have changed on the dynamics of the fandom, but at that time, everybody supported a team from Liverpool that was going to be something special.
Yeah. All right, well, let's talk about that team now. Let's talk about some things that have been going on with the club and fans and stuff. And if anyone's got any opinions on this, jump in. First of all, should we talk about... I'd like to talk about Núñez, because he missed a sitter against Luton, but like the week before, that goal against Bournemouth was incredible. Where are we on Núñez? Has anyone got anything to say? Is he just hit and miss or what? You know, because the fans do love him.
He's going to be a great player in the future. Mark my words. He's, again, as I say, the goal that he scored at the weekend was sublime. People again were thinking he's not going to shoot. He's not. Oh my God, he has. It was perfection. As a striker, I remember a game a lad who I used to play with at Blackburn, Simon Garner, and he was what's the name? He was sort of like he was the club's highest goal scorer, and he always used to say that if you're not in there to miss them, he said it's pointless you being on the pitch.
So we shouldn't worry about when he does miss.
No.
To someone who's never played.
No, but he's going to get chances. Maybe again, as I say, as he's more settled within the team, because don't forget again, he's only been here a short time. So as he's more settled and comfortable in the team, that chance will come and he'll take it. But you can see he's going to be a good player for us.
I watch him and I used to love Luis Suarez when he was on the football field. I just used to think the things he could do, you didn't expect it, and he'd do things, and you think, wow, you know, it's worth paying the whatever it was in them days, 40 quid, now it's 50 quid, to see that moment. And Roger goes to a lot of the away games, so he'll know what's going on with people like Núñez when they're at away games. But the away fans or the fans of the opposition try to abuse him in a friendly way, you know, with this shit Andy Carroll stuff. But I just think there's something in there, and one day that's going to explode. And that's how I see him.
Yeah. What he needs, and I would think this is something that we used to say and look to as progression. He needs to play in a cup final for Liverpool or a big game. Yeah. That way, again, as I say, if he does well, now he's going to have the confidence again to be a Liverpool player that we think he's going to be. Yeah, but that's what he needs, like a big game. I just thought that maybe that chance he missed yesterday could have been a lack of concentration.
Okay.
And he seems to thrive in the big games.
Roger, where are you on Núñez?
Well, people have already said he's a force of nature, which he is. If he's going for a ball, you don't want to be getting in his way, really. And I think what he brings to the team, especially whatever with the rotation, the forward line, and whoever he's playing with, he causes upsets in the defence, which then is opportunities elsewhere along the back line. And he seems to have quite a good understanding with Salah already, assist-wise. One each for the other, So I'm not worried in the long term as to whether he'll come good or not. I did, as I said earlier before Howard joined us, it was a bit of a sitter at Luton. But then he hit the bar as well, didn't it? And I tend to I get the Observer on a Sunday. Sometimes I'll go online to have a look at the Guardian, and the sports reports there were saying it's like he's hitting it too hard. So and maybe that's trying too hard, welling it, rather than just sort of that momentary hold back, just dink it, But it'll come good. I'm not worried about it.
So the Luton game overall, what went wrong there for us?
We didn't convert our chances. We had chances. We weren't incisive enough in their box. That's it.
John?
We should 2-0 up at half time.
But the thing people have to understand is that Luton, this is the biggest game Luton Town have played at their home ground for 30 years.
Since we played them in the FA Cup.
Yeah. And people got to understand, Luton weren't going to lay down. It's a very small ground. It's compact ground. The fans are breathing on you from the moment you walk on the pitch.
But they still got that astroturf there.
Yeah,
no, they got real grass now.
I'll tell you what they have got. They still got them. What I always used to call porter cabins along the side, which is their hospitality. Yeah. It hasn't changed. The ground hasn't changed since Eric Morecambe was the president. That's apart from they put a roof on and some seats in. It's and it's a very, very compact ground. You get what is it, 11,000 capacity or 12,000 capacity. So. But they weren't going to lie down. This was their biggest moment. This is their biggest moment of the season so far. All right, some team's going to go there.
So that meant that we didn't turn up then.
No. I think give Luton.
No. Again, is right again. You would expect going to Luton that Liverpool are going to win that game, isn't it?
Yeah.
So therefore, again, we didn't, and the way we've had to save a point, then there's something wrong. Did Luton up their game, especially because it's Liverpool? If so, why don't they do it every week? They'll be top of the league.
Yeah,
and I think it's more of a case that we underperformed.
Yeah, John's right to say that Luton, for them, it's a massive game and they're really going to give it all they can. However, if you're going to win the league, whoever you're coming up against, because not for all clubs, but for a lot of other clubs, to play us is a massive game. You need to have at your disposal, tactically, ways of doing things differently. The gist of it on the Guardian reporting was that Liverpool played too narrow. You can stretch your defence if you're using your wings all the time. But I just think sometimes... I think Klopp's doing a lot better with his substitutes now for them having an impact. Personally, I thought the substitutions were left a little bit late on, but after the 60-minute mark, I might have looked at it a bit earlier. Not that I know remotely as much as Jurgen. And it was obviously nice in the end for Diaz to score the goal he did. But as Howard says, we shouldn't have been chasing the game based on the possession. There's no point having the ball if you don't do something with it. Wasn't it Paisley who said, just put it in the net, we'll discuss your options afterwards. And if it wasn't working by half time and then to go another 15 minutes, And I mean, their breakaway goal was very good. Nothing wrong with their goal. But 2 points.
We shouldn't be getting caught by a counter-attack by a team in the bottom half of the table.
From what was our possession as well, initially.
Yeah.
Well, it seemed that we were appealing for the handball. We were more interested in appealing for the handball than dealing with the counter-attack.
I'm changing topic a little bit here, but what I noticed in the aftermatch was Klopp complaining about the tactics of Luton, sort of very physical. But a concern I've got, and I'm not questioning the player's skill set at all, and he did that driving run quite early in the game, Konate gives away too many free kicks consistently. And there was one moment in that game, and he had his hands round a Luton player. Yeah. And it's like, you know, even if it was mainly Luton doing it to us, but you can't complain about their team being physical and they haven't got the skill set when one of our centre-backs is doing that to one of their players.
Totally agree with you. And the build of him, he doesn't need to do that.
No, he doesn't.
He doesn't need to do that.
He leaves a bit of himself in too much, too often.
Yeah.
I'm not questioning his skill set, and I think he can be a world-class player for some time, but he does concede too many free kicks. That's definitely part of his profile.
I think
and that's
one
the
of the
problem that we've had this season as well, isn't it? Free kicks, goals, conceding goals, free kicks.
I think one of the saddest things from the game so far is that the FA and the police are looking into tragedy chanting in the second half from Luton fans. Now, obviously, it's bad that it's going on, but there is a good side to this, and that is that, you know, 5 years ago, this wouldn't have even made the news. You know, and the Guardian are writing about it now, and you know, it is now this, and it's got a term, tragedy chanting. It's got a term, and supposedly the police and the FA are looking into it. Oh, we all know nothing will happen, but at least it is out there that when it does happen, it does get out there, because it never used to, and it used to happen every week.
Yeah, I think again that we've had so many different changes over the years that I think that the football authorities should have a template in place for the likes of this.
For what to do, what the penalty is. Instantly.
Yeah. Just let them know beforehand. We heard so and so. We've got it on audio. You'll play your next 3 games away from home.
Yeah.
So the club will lose out on revenue.
Yeah.
Those fans again, as I say, whether or not again they'll travel to go and watch the team, but there'll be a consequence, because you'll see the next person standing next to them, giving them a slap or telling them to shut up, because it's going to cost all of us. But this has been going on for years, and the FA and the authorities, the leagues again, have done nothing about it.
Yeah.
No, I would have said something similar. I said that what they should do is say, right, like they've done in Italy and places like, we're going to close half your ground. We're going to close the part of the ground where
then a revenue hit straight away, isn't it?
Yeah.
Sorry?
It's a revenue hit straight away, like Howard was saying.
Yeah, close half the ground. Yeah. And a club like Luton will need the money.
Yeah. Well, what the authorities have to do, they have to name this template. If you shout this, or you shout again around, whether it be race, colour, gender, whatever, that this is what the consequences are going to be. So if you shout again something about somebody who's black, your club is going to have to play their home games away.
Yeah.
And that will boost the end. So you might have to go to somewhere like Wickham and play them twice at Wickham. So that will benefit Wickham's pockets.
Yeah.
From that, but there has to be a concise thing, because again, we've been talking about these chants and around for years, haven't we? And nothing's been done.
Yeah.
The only thing that's done is us. We talk about it, but we don't have the authority.
But it is refreshing now that the mainstream media is talking about it now too, which is new, which means it is getting out there. It isn't as hidden as it once was. That's the only good thing we can say. So maybe it's a step in the right direction. It's many, many steps from where it should be, but at least it is one step closer now. Yeah.
But the governments, although I say I don't think the government should interfere too much with sport, but the government could say, right, the football's got to regulate itself, and like Howard just said there's got to be a template in place, and not next season, not it's got to be in place now. It should be there, but it's got to be in
now.
And I'll say this: our fans have been as guilty as anybody in the past doing certain things. It's not but the act's been cleaned up. Nottingham Forest brought their banner. There was no obscene chanting or anything like that. So let's just get on with it. But when you get Luton fans, this is maybe a little bit more light-hearted, singing "Sign On," and they've got an unemployment. No, if you got a job in Luton, you're bloody lucky. And that's how things are.
Well, the only time I've been to Luton was the FA Cup game that you were at, John. I got my car broken into in the sat-nav, and I went on the club's website, and they said these are the streets you can park in if you're an away fan, and I parked in one of those streets, and my window got smashed in the sat-nav, and it's the only, of all the away grounds all over the country, it's the only one where I've had trouble. Yet when I was in the ground, they were chanting that we were thieves and out robbing and all the rest of it, and then they're the ones that nicked me sat-nav. I mean, Luton, the only ground in the whole country where I've had a problem. Anyway. All right. Our ground then. Anfield Road End. Does anybody know what's going on? Because I've heard that all the seats are now in. So that things are really moving on.
The seats are in, but there's a lot of work to be done. I actually spoke to somebody who's actually working on it. And he's got a contract until March. So whether that's an indication of how long it's going to take. But again, this is something that nobody saw coming. It's costing our club a lot of money. It's causing a lot of problems for the people who work behind the scenes on tickets and all the rest of it. And these are just normal people, they're not the billionaire owners or anything like that. These are people who go there to work. So it's unfortunate. But, Birmingham City's ground was affected. I think Fulham's may have been. Other grounds, this company went bust, and nobody. The guy who I knew said we didn't see it coming. So we've got to live with it, and if it means next season, it means next season. There's nothing any of us can do or say. I do know that the Spirit of Shankly meet with the club on a regular basis to try and keep abreast of where things are. But it's unfortunate. It's costing a lot of money. It's also impacting on the atmosphere because you're playing in a ground with 12,000 empty seats. It's not ideal. The atmosphere has not been as good as it should be for a while now, but this is also impacting on it.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, then. Well, let's talk about the 18th, which is, we're recording this on the 7th of November. So this is not next Saturday. It's the Saturday after. It's the return of Kevin Keegan to Anfield at Hotel Anfield. And at the same time, something cosmic happened. What you're going to see on your screen there, this is a packet of Smith's Crisps from the 70s with Kevin Keegan's autograph on it. And it washed up on a beach in Cornwall. Was it last week, John? You were the one that...
Yeah, last week. Yeah.
I think that's cosmic, that Kevin Keegan returns to Anfield thanks to Red All Over the Land. And at the same time, this crisp packet, which has been at sea for all those years, makes a comeback at the very same time. So this points to this is an omen. This points to it being a very special night, John.
Yeah, and I will say that packet of crisps didn't cost a lot. It costs you a lot more now. And the tracksuit he's wearing would cost you a hell of a lot more now.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
It was funny when I saw it. The crisp packet washed up with Kevin Keegan's, because Kevin was very much he was into all of this stuff, wasn't he?
Well, he marketed himself.
He was the first one to start doing it.
Yeah. He was in the Brute adverts with Henry Cooper.
Yeah. And what was the other one?
Oh, he did
in the milk one.
Yeah, didn't he do something about radios or something? I don't know. He did quite a lot anyway.
Yeah.
He was into quite a bit. but yeah, and he was Liverpool's first
superstar. Well, he
Well,
was.
yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
you had
the
Sir
modern day
Roger Hunt and
superstar.
people like that, and people go back. But Kevin Keegan was more famous than football, wasn't he?
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
you'd had
yeah.
George Best before him, and that was it, really. Liverpool had
He
nothing
wasn't. You
like
know
him.
what? He wasn't in Liverpool.
In Liverpool, he
A
wasn't.
lot of
No?
us recognise again what Roger Hunt was, what he did, and also again he's part of that England team that won the World Cup.
Yes, he was. Yeah.
So we
Yeah.
we seen Roger as somebody who is he's iconic.
Yeah.
When
Yeah.
Kevin came in, Kevin was the new boy on the block again. His whole persona, his hair. You know what I mean? He had a permed hair. Everyone started having permed hairs again because of Kevin Keegan.
Yeah.
I remember when he left, and he told everybody that he was going. Liverpool, the club, the fans we were in mourning.
Yeah.
This is our best player now telling us he's leaving at the end of the season, and he's off to Hamburg.
Yeah.
Within 20 minutes of watching the Charity Shield game and watching Kenny Dalglish playing in that game, you knew that we'd replaced him.
Yeah.
Because he brought something different to that front line. You know what I mean? Linking play up. He was brilliant with his back to goal.
The central defenders.
So he brought a different aspect that took the club to the next level.
What I remember, there was always a banner on the Kop that said Killer Kevin, and it was changed to Killer Kenny, and it was the same banner.
Yeah.
And they just straight away they just went, yeah, we're all right.
Yeah, well, both of them had the same initials, so it was very easy.
It was pretty easy to do, yeah.
But you mentioned Roger Hunt. I mean, he was probably my first Liverpool favourite player. Well, I had two. One nobody knows about, and that was a guy called Al Farrasmith.
I remember him, Al.
Yeah,
I mean,
the thing I liked about Al Farrasmith wasn't the fact that he was, as Shankly called, born to score goals, because he scored. It was him that basically pushed Liverpool to the title in '64. But it was like footballers weren't called Alf. You know, they're called Roger or Ian, but not Alf. And Alf was a comic name, yeah. So, and I always thought of.
Don't you remember Alf Garnett on a Saturday night?
Yes. Alf Garnett on a Saturday night. Certainly do. Everybody of my age can remember that. Yeah, you know, it was, yeah. But Roger Hunt was somebody special, a pure gentleman. You know, and like most of that team, like you got Ian Callaghan and Roger Hunt, who were gentlemen and tremendous. And he was, like you said, an iconic figure. And when his career slowly ebbed away, but what a player!
Yeah. Great.
Well, on the night then, John, what can we look forward to? Do we know any of the big auction prizes yet, or any of the big raffle prizes, apart from, of course, the Szoboszlai T-shirts? Thanks to Roger.
We're getting prizes along gradually. The idea is to make money for the Spirit of Shankly's Christmas cause, which I hope we can do. You know, anything above the break-even figure goes to these people. So it should be good fun. You've been to them, Graham. You know what they're like. We enjoy it. It's again, it's not serious. It's laid back. It's for the fans. It's by the fans, and that's all.
Where are you holding it?
Hotel Anfield. Do you know Hotel Anfield?
Next door to Tia. Yeah.
How many people does that hold?
When we're going to basically fill the areas, it's about 160 people.
160, yeah.
So we will have that. That's more or less how many people we will have there, and we've got people from the football club coming, including Forbes Duff, who I believe you know. We've got the Spirit of Shankly there.
You'll have a good night, Howard, and if you can do a Q&A in as part of it, that'd be brilliant.
I'm going out in Liverpool. I know I'm going to have a good night.
Yeah, well, Yes, I've got to stay on the right side because Graham and I are all on the organising side. So, but it's going to be
Yeah,
good. The whole
enjoy
idea is to,
yourself.
get people like yourself talking, get people involved. We've got a lovely young lady comes along, Regan, who suffers from Down syndrome. I say suffer, that's the wrong word. She has Down syndrome, but she's a star in her own right, and she will be making something for us.
Yeah.
Um,
We'll probably auction it off. What she made last time, she made last
yeah,
two times she made stuff, and we auctioned it off.
Yeah.
Yeah, and she draws the
So
raffle as well. She's great.
she helps out, yeah, and her mother comes along because her mother's the resident Evertonian on the night.
So we have an Evertonian in the room, surrounded by red.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
so
we
you have to
we
bring
do-
somebody
we
to
do-
boo,
we
don't
do
you?
mention it. We do
Yeah, you've
mention
got to
it.
bring somebody to boo.
Oh yeah, well, so we can all have a ceremonial boo at this end. So yeah, there's a lot going to go on. It's going to be a good night, and as I say, I just want to thank everybody in advance for supporting it, coming out and supporting it. We didn't think we'd do it. We didn't think we'd get to where we are, but we have done. Yeah.
And there's still a few tickets left, isn't there, John?
There's no more meet and greet, but there are one or two of the standard tickets. If anybody wants one, we'll find a seat for them. Let's say that. Yeah. So,
Yeah.
but
And if they're interested in a ticket, redallovertheland.co.uk.
that's it. Yeah, the usual place.
Yeah.
So yeah, and I
If you've
just
got a
think
flyer
it'd
or
be-
anything, if you've got a flyer or anything, send it to me.
okay.
Well, there's a thing on the back of the fanzine as well. There's a whole thing there in the current
I'll,
fanzine. But
I'll email you things across, and
Okay.
if you want to drop me your address, I'll via email, and I'll send you a copy of the fanzine and what we're doing. I've also got posters like that, and I'm hoping that we can get these signed by Kevin and yourself, Howard, and Graham can have one. I'll have one for my wall, and maybe auction one off, or give one as a raffle prize. Yeah, things like that. But we are going to have some pretty impressive items for auction. We want to try and make a couple of £1,000. That's the target.
Yeah. All right then. Well, I think that's it. Anything to say in closing, Howard Gale? And thank you again for coming on. It's been great to meet you like this, and I'm looking forward to meeting you in person on the 18th.
No, thank you, gentlemen, for inviting me on again. As I say, it's always good to talk about our club and the history, and also again looking forward to a bright future. Especially again, as I say, I think we'll win a trophy this season. Don't care what it is, as long as we get the chance to go to a final. Yeah, that will be the next stage.
I wouldn't mind the Europa Cup and seeing Liverpool play in Dublin. Somebody said to me, there'd be one or two go over on the ferry. I said, it won't be a ferry, it'll be an armada. So it'd be a home game. And considering that possibly 75% of Dublin supports Liverpool anyway, it's going to be interesting because
I think we'll win that.
I hope we do.
I seriously think we'll win it.
Yeah. So they're things. So I agree with you, Howard. Let's win a trophy. Trophies matter.
Doesn't matter what they are.
I look at this Papa John Cup that people are playing in, and actually Steve, one of our sellers, has gone to Barra tonight to watch that game, and sell a few fanzines. So I'd love them to win that. So that's how I am. If it's a cup, get it in the cabinet. No matter what.
It's a trophy.
Yep, it's definitely a trophy. When I used to be involved in football, it didn't matter what it was. You wanted to win it. If you're in it, you wanted to win it. And
it's glory.
Yeah.
And that's what we're about. It's glory. And that's what we're about. Glory.
Yeah.
Well, thanks again for coming on, Howard. And
cheers,
Roger,
gents.
Thank you for coming on, and thanks for the Szoboszlai shirt. And Szoboszlai.
I was going to ask if Howard wanted to cast his eye on a whistle-stop tour as a Scouser. My mum was actually born at Brownlow Hill Maternity Hospital in 1925. Not with us anymore.
Wow.
But if you just wanted quickly to give a thumbs up, a thumbs down, is that all right?
Yeah, let's do it.
So, should be in chronological order. This, I had a big gap. This was 2001. And I don't know if Howard's aware of it. There's a pub, it used to be the Rydal, Backstreet Higson's pub, near Ullswater Street round there. And it's now known as the Midden. And I was a regular there for quite a long time on match days. So that was a play in Houlier's reign, Cock of the Midden, Who Dares Wins. And I had a big banner done, but I didn't have the little not riveted, you know what I mean, the little things to hang it up on the rails. And I went to Dortmund. It was actually my birthday when I went with another lad who I knew. And the banner, I've got a picture somewhere of me holding one end and a motorcycle cop holding the other. And when I got back home on the night, went with the club, and I'm listening to the commentary, and very late on, the commentator says, before the golden goal, I guess it's a case of who dares wins now. And it was just, yeah, that'll do. Then this one, I then had a bit of a run of them when we started winning all those trophies with Jurgen. So that, as you know, is affectionately known as Big Ears. This has got a bit distressed as it's been around a bit. But that's not a bad way of putting it, is it, really?
What's it say?
We see more of Big Ears than Noddy. Which I think is quite
nice. The humour is unbelievable.
This one, getting our kicks, not the wrong kind, from back in the day with football hooliganism. And now there's an interesting story with this, because George Sefton, when I did come to the first events with John Aldridge and Steve McMahon, I was chatting to George at the bar, and I sent him one of these T-shirts along with some changed lyrics to the Route 66 song, but to do with Trent and his effect on the team. He never got them, and they were posted, so I knew they got there to the club, and it was to George Sefton, and he never ever got the tee. Someone's had that away. That happened, I think, as well. I do apologise because I've got the guy's name now. But, you know, he went on to Blackpool, the reserve team coach. I'm not sure what's happened to him since.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But if you remember, when they played a game and he was like the manager on the night, this was for like when I say the first team with a lot of young busy in it. But this one I quite like, because what you've actually got there is the backup of the first team players. And if you remember, James Milner was actually behind the bench on one of the games as well when it was young. So the young guns are out front, but you've got the big boys behind. And that's a play on a particular group from the 60s. But they're doing all right, aren't they? They're in the ascendancy. I quite like that one. And then I believe John's actually got one of these. I think he's got a couple, actually. And this was after Madrid. And there's the colours, yellow and red, of the Spanish flag anyway. So number 6 says it all. But on the back, the rain in Spain, that's an old
saying. Yes.
Oh,
but it's very spelling.
Yes.
And if you notice at the top there's 6 points to the crown because it was our 6 Big Ears. Now, there's a story about this one. The start of the following season, we played Burnley away, and I went with a neighbour who's a massive Rochdale fan, but he likes Liverpool as well, and I got a couple of tickets. And there was a pub, sadly closed now, called the Rifle Volunteers, real ale pub, working class boozer, match days, big Burnley place. So we go in. I've got this top on underneath, and I think, to be fair, and I understand that my neighbour probably didn't want me wearing it on show, but I used to like going away anyway, and if you went in the right kind of pub, you could have a good crack. Anyway, a couple sat near us. There was a load of light coming through the window, so this chap with her shuts the curtains because she was complaining of the sunlight. So another Burnley fan across from me says, "Hey, let the light in." So I said, "Well, here you are. How about this? That'll let the light in." Anyway, the immediate response was prosaic, to say the least, but it wasn't vicious. And we ended up having a really good chat for about half an hour before we had to go to the ground on the back of that. And then we've got... Now, this I try to wear when we play Manchester United, because you'll remember a particular saying of Alex Ferguson. Sorry, I'm trying to get the wording wrong. There you go.
Right. Yeah.
And the wording is the perch, so that's not bad. This one, you know the trophy for that, don't you?
Yeah.
World Club Championship. Yeah. And then on the back, there's two little takes. Well, that's a take on Dad's Army, where the cups came from for the game. Then that's a take on a particular film involving James Cagney, who Bill Shankly worshipped. And then Howard will remember this, and John will, possibly Graham. They used to do the scarves, which when you tied them around your neck and it dropped down, there was like the earth with the countries, and there was a liver bird on the top, and then some flags as well. So it was a bit of a play on that. Now this one, I was modelling it after I'd done it at the Midden pub, and one of the lads I was with said to a couple of regulars, said, "What do you think about this T-shirt?" And the response was, "Well, it's blue." And I was actually quite disappointed, because I thought it was a really good tee, the idea behind it. But then only the other week at a close friend's 70th do, he was reminding me that I then went away and did a red one, but because I didn't keep one myself, but sent one to him, because he wanted the red one. I'd forgotten I'd done a red one, and he sent me a picture of it after the do. So what you've got there, it's a take on the European Union, but the number of stars represents the number of trophies we've won in Europe, but also the World Club Championship, which I'm hoping will need updating.
Very soon.
I don't need to remind you what that used to be.
Yeah, it's a knockout. Yeah.
Don't remember that.
And then this one, I have to name check Rochdale resident, big Liverpool fan called Dirk, who I met in a pub I go to watch a lot of games in a couple of times. And he came up with the original idea to do with when we went on to win the title about 2020 vision, because he said, I can see it coming, and I've just got this idea about Klopp's glasses, and he doesn't wear them anymore. But that's not bad, really. And then all it has on the back is the trophy.
Yeah.
And then there's one here, which this was after we'd won the lot, more or less, into 2 seasons. And most people think that was meant to be Jurgen Klopp. But what happened, the chap who helped me with the tees put a baseball hat on an image of Aristotle, a Greek philosopher, because Aristotle, or these words are attributed to him.
Wow, yeah.
We won those trophies in 12 months. Well, just about 12 months. And then there's a couple here. It's that Szoboszlai, man, they need a bit of an eye on these. I originally wanted, not for any, I've said before to John, I do this for a buzz. I don't do it because I'm trying to make a living out of it. But the group that set up to support people who are at Hillsborough, I was in the Leppings Lane at Hillsborough, but I wasn't in the Centre Pens. And I wanted to do something for them that then maybe they could make some money out of. I don't think it worked brilliantly with... The idea was you got the 96 from the Flame, and sadly now it's 97 deceased. So you need a bit of an update anyway. But what I did, I went looking on the internet for different sayings, and I think in their own way, they're both appropriate for what Hillsborough means to us. And then the other one, what's that one?
Can I be the devil's advocate and just ask a question?
Of course you can.
The person who's just died, they're not. Well, that death was not a direct death of Hillsborough, was it? Whereas the 96 were.
Well, yeah. Well, what the coroner said was words to the effect of, if he hadn't been injured at Hillsborough, then he wouldn't have died. So I know it's a huge time frame, because if you remember, there was another of the deceased of the 96 who, and it was months and months after the game, and then they turned a life support machine off.
Yeah, well, that's a direct, isn't it? Yeah. And this person again, who's 96, have they been living in sort of like a coma or something? Is it?
I don't think it was a coma, but it was like life-changing situation as a direct result of the crush. So the coroner, it was the coroner who actually said he can be considered a casualty that way of Hillsborough. And then just to show, again, creative buzz, it's not just Liverpool. I play bowls in the summer months for a local pub team in the Rochdale League, and we've won the title the last 2 seasons. And the pub's called the Healy Dell Hotel, and the licensee decided that we were going to be called the Dell Boys. So as a play on a certain series that's no longer with us, but you can still get it on some channels, I came up with the idea for the T-shirt. So that's a business that sponsored the polo shirts. You can understand the coloration, but then that's the wheels for the Reliant Regal. So they can see us coming anyway.
And Roger, do you just do this for the hell of it, just for the fun of it?
I've got some ideas in the pipeline moving forward, but a couple of other things. John will remember I was lucky enough, along with another person, to get a prize based on my Liverpool tattoo. Do you remember this book?
Oh, is this the one where we interviewed that she's from Holland?
The lady, the author.
Yeah. What was her name? We interviewed her on the show, didn't we? Yeah.
Kim Oldthoff.
Yeah. Kim Oldthoff. And is one of your tattoos in the book? Did it make it into the book?
No. She was on about maybe doing another one, but what the feedback I got was, I think it applied to the other person, was that the tattoo she chose there was like a memorial aspect to them. So, and I'll do a plug for Squid Shop Tattoos in Sowerby Bridge in Yorkshire, because Johnny Bailey there is very, very good. So this is the tattoo. Hang on, I'm just trying to get there. So basically, so the monument there, because it does look a bit like something in a graveyard, it's actually the Peace Monument near Todmorden in West Yorkshire, which was originally built a different shape at the end of the Napoleonic Wars, but then it got struck by lightning, partly collapsed, so they rebuilt it, but to this design, and that coincided with the end of the Crimean War. Now the roses, there's my dad was born on the Yorkshire side of Todd, border town. My mum, and Scousers might not like it, but it's in Lancashire, Liverpool. Mum was born in Liverpool, but they got married. So you've got the Tudor rose, the red and the white. And the monument, it's on a place called Stoodley Pike, is the emblem of Todmorden, a small town. And then you've got the liver bird for my mum, bang on top of it. And you've also got underneath the dates of Heysel. I was at Heysel as well, and Hillsborough. And a change I made to the design, driving to have the tattoo done. The YNWA is red, black, white, red. So it's the colours of Turin as well as Liverpool. And as I say, they're both mentioned there. I won't bore you with the detail. I've done another tattoo, which is just to do with family, which is what will be my daughter's grandparents, so to speak. And I quite like this, which I keep for a bit of reflection. So I acquired a miniature version of a statue by Rodin, the thinker. Hang on, ring it.
Classic, yeah.
Going the wrong way with this, aren't I? Yeah. But what I've done to it, you've got, sadly, my Justice for the 96 wristband broke quite some time ago. But to me, it signifies what certainly at the time came close to breaking the club. And I think it also broke our relationship with a lot of the media, justifiably. You've then got a Poppy Day for the national remembrance for the armed forces. But I wear the little clip-on plasticated poppies you can put like on a piece of clothing. I have one of those on every outer garment I wear. And they're on all the time. And that's because, like for those from the armed forces who died and like the Hillsborough victims, I don't think you should ever forget them. I don't think it's just, one day of the year when you make the special effort. Yeah. And in a lot of cultures, a feather is seen as a spirit thing, like to do with the angels and stuff. So that's always somewhere where it can be seen. But yeah, a lot of stuff. Just ideas, really.
Great stuff.
So if Howard thinks any of those are half decent, that'll do for me.
Howard, what's your verdict?
I think that's a great collection. And when it's explained to you as well, because again, a lot of people won't understand the signs and the significance of the signs and what it means.
Well, I think
what you should do is do a video on what that presentation you've just done to us now, that accompanies again, so people can see themselves again, self-explanatory rather than what that means.
I've just submitted a design as well for a friends group for a local park. Whether they like it or not, they're meeting up on Thursday, which references the work they've done to turn it around as well. So hopefully that will go down well.
Until you do that video that Howard suggested, you've got this read all over YouTube, because once we go off air, we're live on YouTube right now. Once we go off air, the same link, you can watch this for as long until we get banned from YouTube. It's always there, a recording of it. Yeah.
Just as an idea, so you're going to have to visualize this yourselves, and it wouldn't actually matter then if we got to Dublin and didn't win it, but I do share Howard's view that I think we can do that this season. I think we should do it. So the idea there would be the Irish tricolour, and in the white centre bar have not the liver bird, but if you go on the internet, what you'll find is there's like a form of harp, and it's got like a lady's head up at the top, and then a chest coming down the main front.
Like a mermaid, isn't it?
But to replace that with a liver bird head and a chest sticking out, but not the full liver bird, just enough to give it what it's about, the football this time, not just the harp, but otherwise looking like the harp. And then underneath, you could just have the strap line, the Dubliners. Because they're musical as well, aren't they? The group's a musical group. I don't think the Dubliners would complain if we got to the final and people were walking around.
Most of them are no longer with us.
Yeah.
The band. Yeah.
Yeah.
What problems have you had with the club? Because they've copyrighted that liver bird,
Oh, have they?
They can't.
Yeah.
No. Well, sorry. What you mean is they've copied the particular design of a liver bird, because they can't copyright the liver bird itself.
Yeah.
I said this. What it looks.
I said this. No, but apparently they tried to copyright the liver bird. So because he was stopping us from using it. He was stopping us, the former players, from using it.
Wow, were they? And did it all get resolved, Howard, or is it still up in the air?
No, well, again, we our kits now, when we play Legends games again, they can't have the live bird on them.
Wow.
So it's something that you should check out.
Well, I will double check. My understanding was they wanted to copyright the live bird per se, and it got kicked out. What I do understand is if someone's from however it's sourced trying to sell off what look like official merchandise and it isn't. I get that, and they're wanting them to have that as their own. But to say that no one can have a live bird of any design.
Well, it means that like Liverpool Council's letterheads would all have to be changed. And
well, it's on all the bins and everything.
Yeah.
But
apparently, again, as they were what's the name? They got all their legal.
What was that, Howard? You just went a bit muffly there.
No, lost him. Just lost him.
See, there are forces at work here. They've silenced him. He's brought that up. This is how powerful this football club is now. Oh, sorry, we've got you back, Howard. What was it? What were you saying?
Yeah, I was saying that again. When we played games in Sweden and Denmark and places like that, the club had got on to what we were doing. Copyrighted the live birds and told us you can't use the live bird no more. We're people who played for the club, but they told us that we couldn't use it.
And you're out there as ambassadors for the club too, as well.
Yeah.
And
well, we sort of like we can. It was our own organisation.
Yeah.
With the former players, but again, everything that we did was in conjugative with the club.
Right.
I mean, we were sort of like celebrating, progressing again what they've achieved or what we've achieved playing for the club.
Yeah. Yeah.
So just be careful again. Just again make some silent whispers about the because if they get on you, they'll stop you.
Well, John, you're gonna have to be careful then with the fanzine and the website.
No, we're all right. There's a lot of bird on it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks everyone. It's been great. We'll see you on the 18th if you're going to make it to Hotel Anfield. There's a few tickets left. You can meet Howard Gayle. You can see Kevin Keegan in person. You can meet George Sefton. You can meet the people from Spirit of Shankly. Even representatives of Liverpool Football Club will be there. With a live bird of their own, I suppose. I don't know what the deal is, whether that's going to be on display. Or whether it's going to be
haven't you? He's panicking.
But I'm sure. Well, I don't know. You're going to be there on the night, Howard. You can put us straight and tell us what we can and can't.
I'm going to bring my live. I'm going to bring my live bird.
Oh yeah, someone needs to come dressed up as a live bird and see what.
Right.
Listen, that's brilliant tonight.
Thank you, Howard.
It's a pleasure having you on,
Howard.
Yeah.
Thanks,
Thank you. And thanks, Roger, and thanks for taking us through your little museum of recollections there. It was fantastic.
Yeah.
And John
his
Pearman,
collection.
Yeah. John Pearman, thank you so much for 28 years of Red All Over the Land. It is the actual official birthday of the fanzine on the 18th, so it's going to be great. It's the voice of the fans. This will be on sale on Sunday, won't it, John? And in the meantime, they can go to the website. What's that again? If they want to get it, they want to subscribe, get involved.
www.redallaovertheland.com.
All right. Until next time. Thank you very much. And you'll never
You get my address
alone.
as well if you want. You wanted something signed, wasn't he?
Well, yeah. If you don't mind, if you can let Graham or John have maybe just your mobile, and then I can or email.
Yeah. Well, you can have it now.
Well, hang on. Let's go off the air first before you start giving out personal details. Hold on a second. Thanks, everyone.
I didn't mean now. I meant,
Okay.